The office that prosecuted him wants his conviction overturned. The family of the woman he's accused of unaliving has agreed to a life sentence for the inmate instead of the unalivement penalty. But Marcellus Williams is scheduled to be unalived tonight after Missouri Supreme Court and governor refused to grant a stay of execution following a flurry of appeal efforts based on new evidence. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. How are you guys doing this evening? How you guys doing? Today is a little bit of a heavy day. I hope you guys have done your mental health checks, checked in with yourselves before you get to checking in with all this mess that's happening out here. You guys hear me? How you guys doing? Hey, vacate day. How you doing? Thank you for being here. Hey, Chilla. Thank you for being here. Hey, Mel. Thank you for being here. Make sure everybody go smash that like button for me, please. Thank you. I appreciate you guys for being here with me. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you, Jella. Thank you for that. Let me make sure I got a nice little piece of music to play in this background. Hopefully that's not too loud. Hopefully that's good. Down a little bit. Thank you, Jella. Thank you. Okay, babe. Thank you. Let's turn it down a little bit. There we go. Unfortunately, there is not a great update here to this story. Unfortunately, they did not do a stay of execution on Marcellus Williams, and he was unalived. Yeah, he was unalived. As we were live earlier, he was being unalived. That's crazy. There's a lot to unpack here. I know that there are some questions surrounding the story, the questions surrounding his innocence. And we're going to get into a few things here throughout this video. Hopefully answer any of your questions and things like that. Definitely want to send prayers to his family. God rest his soul. You know, these situations are never easy, and unfortunately, there's no right words to say. The only thing that you can do is just talk about the facts that are there. So trigger warning to anybody who this, may affect. I just want to go over a couple of articles, talk a little bit about his final day, talk a little bit about what happened in the case to get him to the situation where he is today. I want to talk a little bit about the evidence and things that were found and what happened with those things. I do have the full case, and as you can imagine, this case is from 1998, so it's not as detailed as a case that would be written today. However, there is some details in there we can go over, but after we've gone all over all of the other evidence, it really would make no sense to dig into this and destroy this man's character any further. We'll get into it, but I just want to be mindful that someone has lost a family member. So we're going to be careful and we're going to tread lightly and make sure that, we're being respectful in this moment. So hang on a second here. So as you can see, this article was pretty much being updated today throughout the execution. There's some details and things inside of there that we're going to talk about. So on Tuesday evening, this evening, Marcellus Williams will be strapped to a gurney as he was at the Eastern Reception Diagnostic Correctional Center in Bonne Terre, Missouri, who will be allowed to offer his last words, which I also have, bearing a last-minute interview by Missouri's governor or the courts. He'll then be injected with a lethal cocktail of drugs that will end his life, which has happened. Williams, who was convicted in August of 2001 for the brutal stabbing of Felicia Gale Pickus, may very well be innocent. There is no physical or forensic evidence linking Williams to the crime scene. Fingerprints taken at the crime scene were inexplicably destroyed. Neither bloodied footprints nor hair at the crime scene could be linked to Williams. The evidence against him in his testimony are two eyewitnesses, a jailhouse informant, and Williams' former girlfriend. His attorneys argue that both implicated Williams because they wanted to claim the $10,000 reward. But perhaps the most unusual element of Williams' situation is that seemingly no one with a stake in the outcome of the case wants him to die. Gale Pickett's family, who believe that Williams is guilty, opposes the imposition of the death penalty. Members of the jury have expressed second thoughts about the verdict. And even the office that prosecuted Williams, the St. Louis County Prosecuting Office, has led the charge to free Williams from prison. Let me just check in with you guys, make sure everybody okay, see what's going on down in the chat. Yes, prayers. Yep, 10K reward from an informant and a girlfriend. You never know. But you also have to think this is 1998. $10,000 in 1998 to an average person living in an average area with an average income, that's a lot of money for that time. That would probably be like the equivalent to 100K today. To an average person who's, have an average job, average income, average home, that's a lot of money. So even a person, look how many people turned in JAG for $1,000. So imagine that time, $10,000 or $10,000. What could that have done for a person's life in that day? So yeah. They witnessed the crime? No one witnessed the crime. Were they ones who reported the body? No, they were not the ones that reported the body. If not, why did they leave the scene and what did they do? So we're going to go through a little bit of what happened that day, what was going on with this story. We'll get into a little bit more details. Hi, Tam. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you for being here. Please, everybody, hit the like button for me so that we can try to get into the algorithm. Make sure that you share if you can. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Okay. Quite often, it is the prosecuting attorneys who work most feverishly to uphold a successful conviction. The last January, St. Louis County prosecuting attorney Wesley Bell filed a court motion to vacate Williams' prosecution. A 2021 state law allows Missouri prosecutors to ask a court to vacate a conviction if they believe it was unjust. 3 other men have already been freed after decades in prison under that law. This is Marcellus Williams. Rest in peace to him. This is not the end of your fight. I believe that your story is the biggest opportunity for justice in our reform system, and I hope that it is taken. Yes. At the time, Bell's office cited testing that found William DNA was not on the murder weapon. Subsequent tests, however, revealed that the knife had been mishandled by law enforcement, making a potentially exonerating DNA test impossible. So because the law enforcement had mishandled the weapon, they were not able to exonerate him based off of the weapon. Williams, who has long maintained his innocence, subsequently reached a painful agreement with the prosecutors. In return for pleading no contest to first-degree murder, he would receive a new sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. Unless Williams could find another way to prove his innocence, he would likely have to live out his days under lock and key, but he would avoid execution. So a lot of people were confused as to why he changed his plea, why he wanted to plead no contest, and it was because he's already been down this road twice. We've only witnessed this together here today, but this is his 3rd time going through this process. So we want to be mindful to that as well. The ex-girlfriend and the other dude, 2 eyewitnesses. So they witnessed it, right? No. So the informant says that he seen some things, and the girlfriend says that she seen him later on, and she found a jacket in his car where she asked him to take his jacket off, and he had blood on his shirt, and she was confused about why he had on a jacket in the summertime. There was no actual witnesses. Again, it was kind of a story. Just as I'm sitting here telling you a story today, as I'm reading this is what she said to the courts. Judge Bruce Hilton and Gail Pickett's family agreed to the deal. However, after lobbying from Andrew Bailey, the state's Republican Attorney General, the Missouri Supreme Court scrapped the agreement and ordered Hilton to conduct an evidentiary hearing. According to Williams' attorney, Tricia Rojo Bushnell, a lawyer at the Midwest Innocence Project, who has worked on Williams' case for the past 7 years, it is very unusual for a prosecutor to seek to vacate a murder conviction, and more unusual for a court to not agree to the prosecutor's motions. But the latter is precisely what happened. On September 12th, Hilton ruled that there is no basis for a court to find that Williams is innocent and that no court has made such finding. And this is important because you don't go to court to find out if you're innocent. You go to court to find out if you're guilty. You're innocent until you're proven guilty. So even this being statements that are being made in the manner in which they're making them, that is not how the law works. Thus, Hilton concluded the death sentence verdict must be carried out, even though he had agreed to the reduced sentence of life without parole just the month before. What have we have here, said Bushnell, is a duly elected prosecutor from where the case happened who wants to overturn this conviction, and an attorney general who is appointed to do the job who doesn't live in St. Louis County, trying to put him to death. Bailey was appointed as an attorney general after his predecessor, Eric Schmidt, was elected to the U.S. Senate in 2022. Williams' lawyers are continuing to try and save his life. They filed a petition. Obviously, we know that this petition did not go through, and he was executed. They talked a little bit about his state at that time, and his state at that time was, I'll actually go through this part. It said, I asked Bushnell how Williams was holding up, knowing that he could die on Tuesday night or could be granted a last-minute reprieve. He's trying to hold both thoughts at the same time, she says. He remains hopeful, but understands the balance of preparing for the moment and is focused on his family and his Muslim faith. So what we have here is a tale of tragedy. This was an actual tragedy. And my problem with this tragedy is if there is so much doubt and speculation in his guilt or innocence, who, where, and why, what happened? Where's the real person at? If there's none of his DNA there, whose DNA was it? You have a knife with no DNA. You have footprints. You have hair. All of these things. Whose DNA is that? Maybe in 1998 that was not able to be figured out. But I'm sure that can be figured out today. Hello. Thank you guys. Please hit the like button. You guys still hear me? Just making sure before I move on. Yeah, the whole situation is just that two families are suffering right now. There's a lot of people who are being affected by this. And it affects all of us. It affects all of us because we need to know and trust that the justice system works for us, not against us. I got you guys. Thank you. I got you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I got you. I got you. Thank you. So again, I will just go through this part again. Despite protestations from the prosecutor's office that sent him to death row and anti-death penalty advocates, as well as calls for clemency, the victim's family and two famously men convicted by the Missouri justice system for murders they did not commit. The state executed Marcellus Williams today, late afternoon. Williams, 55, died via a lethal dose of pentobarbital. The execution was carried out just after 6 p.m. on September 24th at the Eastern Reception, Diagnostic and Correctional Center in Bonne Terre, Missouri. Earlier today, he gave his final statement, which was, "All praise be to Allah in every situation." Williams' last meal was served at 10:53 a.m. Tuesday, and it included chicken wings and tater tots. I'll just stop right there for a second. They executed this man hungry, and all he had in his stomach from 10:53 in the morning was some chicken wings and tater tots. I know he didn't request that for his last meal. And who the hell gets their last meal before lunch? This is crazy. Williams' last meal was served at 10:53 a.m. Tuesday and included chicken wings and tater tots. That's actually crazy. That's crazy. The Department of Corrections said his last visit was with Imam Jalil Qasim from 11:01 to 12:32 a.m. The Imam was with Williams in the execution. Yeah. Let's get into a little bit of the story so people can understand what happened with him as well. Williams was convicted of first-degree murder in August of 1998, stabbing death of Gail during a robbery of her suburban St. Louis home. He had long maintained his innocence. Tricia Rojo Bushnell, Williams' attorney and an executive director of the Midway's Innocence Project, filed an emergency appeal, which we all know that this morning that did not take, and the appeal was denied. Just about when I started my live earlier, that's when they had put out the denial. And as we were ending our live just after 6 o'clock, a little bit earlier, that is when he was actually being executed. So, yeah, this is not justice, and we must all question why any system that would allow this to occur. The execution of an innocent person is the most extreme manifestation of Missouri's obsession with finality over truth, justice, and humanity at any cost, Bushnell said in a statement. Tonight, we all bear witness to Missouri's grotesque exercise of state power. Let it not be in vain. This should never happen, and we must not let it continue. St. Louis County Prosecuting Attorney Wesley Bell, who was not involved in the original case, have requested that the Missouri Supreme Court send the matter back to the St. Louis County Circuit Court for a full hearing. On Monday, the Missouri Supreme Court and Governor Mike Parson rejected those appeals and a clemency petition that highlighted faulty DNA evidence and claimed racial bias in the jury selection at the time of Williams' original trial. Gale's family had signed that petition. So even the victim's family signed the petition. So, yeah, the family wants someone to pay for the murder. And yeah, they may feel like he's guilty, but they don't really have the truth. So they're uncomfortable clearly with saying what they feel the truth is. Because I wouldn't, I don't know that I would. Would you say? What would you do? Given how this has gotten me so emotional, maybe I would, because I don't think that anybody should be punished for something that they didn't do. And if you're going to punish me for what I've done, punish me to the extent of the law and what it requires, not further than. The family defines closure as Marcellus being allowed to live, the petition stated, which had been sent to the AP. Marcellus' execution is not necessary. However, it was granted, and he is no longer with us today. Parson, however, disagreed. The governor, a former county sheriff who has not granted clemency for capital punishment during his entire tenure as the state's chief executive, says William received ample consideration from the justice system. Ample consideration from the justice system. I'm confused about what the ample consideration from the justice system was. One little piece of consideration would have been just putting him on death row. I mean, not death row, just put him in a life sentence. Until you guys can until you can prove me to be guilty, I'm still supposed to be innocent. If I'm still supposed to be innocent, then I shouldn't be dead. This is a problem. We hope this gives finality to a case that has languished for decades, re-victimizing Miss Gale's family over and over again. No juror, no judge has ever found Williams' innocence claim to be credible, Parson said in a statement prior to Williams' execution. 2 decades of judicial proceedings and more than 15 judicial hearings upheld his guilty conviction. Thus, the order of execution has been carried out. In his statement rejecting Williams' clemency petition, Parson accused defense attorneys of attempting to muddy the waters about the DNA defense. I don't see what there was to be muddied or watered. If you either have evidence of a crime or you don't have evidence of the crime. The fact that it took this many hearings and this many court hearings and this many years tells you that there was an issue with the case. There was not enough evidence to say he's guilty 100%, put him behind the bars. There's too much speculation here for there to have been an execution. That's just what this is. And we have to be able to trust that the law is going to look out for us. We have to be able to trust that. Whether we do something right or wrong, if I do something wrong and I'm supposed to go to prison for a year, I need to go to prison for a year. But I don't need to go to prison for 50 years or be executed in any way. Williams' lawyers are continuing to try to save his life. We know that this did not work, and it's just so heartbreaking to read. It's so heartbreaking to read. Gail, a social worker who previously worked as a reporter for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, was found stabbed to death inside her University City home in August 1988. Her purse and her husband's laptop were stolen. Investigators and prosecutors claimed Williams broke a window pane to get inside the home, heard water running in the shower, and found a large butcher knife where Gail came downstairs. They said Williams stabbed her 43 times and left the knife in her throat. Prosecutors say that Williams confessed to killing his former Prosecutors said Williams confessed to the killing to his former girlfriend after she found Gail's purse in Williams' car. She also said Williams threatened to kill her and her family if she told anyone about it. A jailhouse informant also testified that Williams bragged about the murder to him. So his girlfriend found the bag in the car. And he said, "Oh, it's the girl that I killed." And then while he was in jail, a jailhouse informant, while he was there, tells them, yeah, he bragged about the murder here as well. Now, don't get me wrong. I've watched a lot of TV. I know what it's like inside of prisons. I know people who work inside of there. This is something that could very well happen, where you have someone confessing to someone they're thinking that's just a bunkmate, and something like that. But the original arrest was on the girlfriend's statement of finding the stuff in the car, and then once inside there was this second person who said that he confessed while he was there. This person is an informant. Both of the informants were said to have been trying to get the $10,000 reward payment. Defense attorneys then announced said the girlfriend and informant were convicted felons only interested in reward money. So these two people were both convicted felons. The girlfriend was a convicted felon, and the informant was a convicted felon. However, Parsons' statement said that the girlfriend never inquired about the money, and the informant provided investigators with details about the crime that were never made public. Following Monday's rejection of the appeals, Bell said in a statement that his office still had questions about the integrity of the conviction. So, the girlfriend never inquired about the money, obviously because it became a huge problem. What did you think telling on him was going to do? It sounds like she was upset because maybe she did find a purse in a car, or I don't know what's happened with this purse. None of it has ever been proven, so this is all allegedly. The only thing we can do is speculate in this situation. So none of that was founded. And then the informant went into more details. Could that be a game of telephone? Could that be a game of JAG storytelling? Maybe we were sitting here talking about what happened, and I told you what they said I did, and then you repeated that, and then added, some more information in there, thinking that was going to help you get a reduced sentence. Because again, both the girlfriend and the informant were convicted felons. They were already felons. Following Monday's rejection of the appeals, Bell said in a statement that his office still had questions about the integrity of Williams' conviction. So they are the actual office who prosecuted him, the one who brought the charges to him from the beginning. They are now saying, hey, we don't know. We don't know. We're not really sure here. We want to bring this back and send it back to the lower courts. And the people above are saying, no, just let him go ahead and, be unalived. The family has suffered enough. This has been going on for too long. It's not his fault you guys didn't get it right. Y'all didn't get it right. I don't understand how that's his fault. Why he has to suffer because y'all didn't get it right. Again, going to prison and being told that you are guilty, you are innocent until you are proven guilty. And the way that they have set this up is that it's the other way around. He is in prison trying to prove his innocence, and they're not even sure about the charges. Even for those who disagree on the death penalty, when there is a shadow of a doubt of any defendant's guilt, the irreversible punishment of execution should not be an option, Bell said, as a St. Louis County Prosecutor Office has questions about Mr. Williams' guilt, but also about the integrity of the conviction. For those reasons, we will continue to do everything in our power to save his life, which we were not able to do that. Again, like I said, this is the biggest opportunity for justice reform that the United States has ever seen. Prosecutors do not rescind convictions. In August of 2017, Williams was hours away from execution when he was given a reprieve. Former Missouri Governor Eric Greitens halted the process, saying that testing, unavailable at the time of the unaliving, showed that Williams' DNA was not on the Erder weapon, leading some to argue that Williams was not the unaliver. His DNA was not on the weapon. Greitens formed a board of inquiry to examine the case. However, his successor, Parson, dissolved the board of inquiry in June of 2023 before it could reach any conclusion regarding Williams' innocence. So this Parson, who has been the beginning of the case all this whole time, he's taking that off the table as well. Just checking on you guys really quickly. How you guys doing in the chat? I'm sorry, this is a bit heavy. Yes, I know. Oh, thank you, Mel. I know, vacate. This is a lot. But this is not something that's going to end and go away. This is going to be a big thing because when you have the Supreme Court involved in a case like this, it's necessary to ensure that the law is being upheld. And the law does not change or should not change from person to person. Prosecutor Bell filed a motion in the winter of 2023 to vacate Williams' murder conviction. Bell cited that the new DNA evidence when filing the motion and said that he believed that Williams was not involved in the unaliving. A Missouri law took effect in 2021, allowing prosecuting attorneys like Bell to file a motion to vacate a conviction if they believe an inmate could be innocent or was otherwise erroneously convicted. There was concerns that the original members of the prosecution team had mishandled and contaminated the DNA evidence. This past August, Prosecutor Bell and Williams' attorney have reached a deal in which Williams could plead guilty to the unaliving under an Alfred plea in St. Louis County Circuit Court and receive a life sentence. Williams' lawyer said at the time that by accepting the Alfred plea and admission that prosecutors have enough evidence to obtain a guilty verdict, they would have to have more time to seek their client's innocence. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey argued at the time that the circuit court did not have the authority to overturn Williams' conviction or resentence him. The Missouri Supreme Court sided with Bailey. The day before Williams' execution, Fox News received statements from Ryan Ferguson and Russ Faria, two Missouri men who were each convicted of the murders they did not commit. So those two men also sent letters in defense of Mr. Williams as well. So guys, this is going to be a bit of a mess. And I know that it's his family both families have had a long fight. And at this moment now, we have two families of victims. There's not just one family of victims anymore. I want to make sure that I leave room here for what's to come next in the news. Again, I do have the full report so that we can go over it. Most of this is going to be hearsay because there were no cameras, nothing was recorded or anything like that. We'll go through what was found with where, whom, what, when, where, why, and how, and all of that. I do want to allow the families grace, as you know, they are both suffering. There's a family here that is suffering on each end. So we want to make sure that we are respectful to that. Not always are we given grace. Not always are we given that. So we're going to continue to talk about this story more and more as things goes along. I want to say rest in peace to Marcellus Williams. We need to make sure that the systems that are put in place to work for us actually work for us. So if you guys check in the description box, make sure it's there. If not, I'll update it. We still want to continue to sign the petitions. We still want to make sure we take our part in this action because it's going to be ongoing. This is going to be a story that continues through the courts for a long time to come. This is the best and the biggest opportunity that we have had for justice reform. And I send prayers to both the Williams family. I send prayers to Gail family. This was a tough one, guys. This one was a tough one. Do you guys have questions that maybe I can answer? I'll give you guys a few minutes to put some questions in the chat. And if no questions go in there, we'll do another update tomorrow. We'll let the news do what it do. We'll get some more updates and then we'll come back and talk about it a little bit. And I do have 2 other lives that I was supposed to do today. So if you were waiting for those, I'm so sorry I had to push them back till tomorrow. But we'll get into those stories as well. So, yeah. And don't get me wrong, what happened to Felicia was horrible. For something like that to have happened to her in her home where she's supposed to be safe and protected, that is horrible. That is harsh. And if this was done to her by him, then he got the action and justice that he was supposed to get. But if this was not done by him, we have lost an innocent man, and somebody who was willing to do that is still walking around outside. And that's scary. That's what the problem is. The problem is that they don't care enough to do the extra investigating. Whose blood was it? If it wasn't his, was it all hers? Whose was it? I know the lady wasn't slipping around in there baby oil by herself with a knife, cutting up herself. So whose DNA was it? Give us some insight. Give us something. You had to have. What investigation did you do if you don't know? You can't even tell me if it's a man or a woman's DNA. Like give us something. Maybe we can be a little bit more understanding to why you are so forcefully trying, or why you have forcefully unalived this man. This is exhausting. This can't be life. This cannot be life. That can't be what justice looks like. That can't be the process. The process got to be a little bit more solid than that. Definitely, definitely, definitely. Thank you. Oy, oy, oy. This gave me a headache, guys. This gave me a headache. Again, we'll get more into the transcripts of what was written in his case. I would like to go into a little bit more of the story that happened prior to him being unalived. If you guys have any questions, or if you have anything you want me to talk about or anything like that, please go ahead and send it to me. You can send it to me on Instagram at the sneaky link for underscores. You should be able to find me. And before we get out of here, I'm just going to end with a brief moment of silence. Again, I appreciate you all so much for being here with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please make sure you hit the like button. Please make sure that you share, 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 share. And we're gonna keep this in the lineup, because I know that more information and more things are gonna be coming out as far as how it regards to the law in which we are required to live. So I want to make sure that we keep on top of that. I want to know what comes from it. And I don't know what's going on in Missouri, but y'all got to figure out another way to punish people. You can't just keep going around killing people. And then all these they're being overturned and all kind of stuff. So clearly you guys are not doing it 100% right yourselves, and your action and how you feel that you're going to fix things and make things better is not going to work. That's not going to work. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And again, we're just going to end on a moment of silence.